What's up? Today we're going to do a little testing here. I'm on my boat. I got my leaning post here, and what I want to do is pull this leaning post out, and we're going to take it to a powder coater to see what the process is for powder coating something on your boat, the cost, and just the time that it takes to do it. So I want to take all this off here. I'm going to take all this off, pull all these things off of here, then we'll just pull the leaning post out of the boat, take it over there to the powder coater and let him do his thing. Powder coating is super popular. I mean, it's a really effective way to get rid of stuff like this. You know, I got all this is banged up, all this is not looking that good. So what we can do is just take all these things off. It'll get sandblasted, and powder coating isn't necessarily a paint. So this over here is powder coated, and what it is a powder coating that's not paint, because paint is a liquid and this is not a liquid.
It's a dry powder that's electrostatically applied and then cured under a heat.
But as you can see, it looks really nice, and it is a lot more durable than paint, because paint is a liquid. It'll peel and come off a lot easier than, you know, the powder coating will. Well, this poses a little problem because this is actually riveted on. So I'm going to need to cut those rivets off, and then when I put this back on, I'll have to drill it out and put some screws with some nuts on there to attach this leaning post storage box back on. One of the problems that you might encounter when pulling old stuff like this apart, of course, is going to be broken or stripped out bolts in the rivets. So we got to drill these things out to get all this stuff off of here. Our real question now is, this is the last thing that we need to take off, but a lot of these screws might not come out. Obviously we want to get this piano hinge off of here, opposed to leaving the hinge on there and trying to have them powder coat it with the hinge on. But I would say if I start breaking all these, I'm gonna go ahead and say it now that I think that 2 bolts are gonna be the limit. If I snap 2 of them screws, or the first 3, we're just going to leave the hinge on there and call it a day. Looks like our first 3 were successful, so let's go ahead and take the rest of the screws out of the hinge and pull the hinge and the seat off together. We got all the screws out except for one that we had to drill out, and well, that was my fault anyway. I should have took the other thing out of the way to get straight on it to pull it out. So realistically, this would have been 100% success rate on the screws if I didn't mess that up. Now we just got to take out the 12 screws that are holding the whole landing post down on the ground, and then we'll pull this out of the boat and take it over to the powder coater. Here we are, we got the leaning post out of the boat. Now let's take this over to the powder coater and let him do his thing. And we're just gonna paint this thing white. All right, we've got our leaning post back from the powder coater and it looks really good. I'm pretty happy. I should probably wash it off, but no, this looks really good for how bad it is. I mean, a lot of this stuff is gonna be covered up that you're never gonna see, but you can tell how pitted and corroded this thing was. Not that appealing, but now that it's covered in white, it really looks good. You won't see a lot of this stuff, but all this you'll see, and that looks pretty good if you ask me. I'm happy I did that. After seeing this, I really wish before I put all this together that I would have taken this and had this powder coated, because that would have really made everything look good. But hindsight's 2020. Now, what I paid to get this done was only $140. So 140 bucks makes it look like that. So I mean, what would the T-top cost? I don't know. If that was 140, then my guess is that this T-top would maybe be 400 bucks, I'm guessing. So for a couple $100, you can take this whole T-top and that leaning post and make them all look like this. I think that's well worth it for what it looks like compared to what it did look like. Granted, you can see how bad the metal was, but again, it's not brand new metal, and it's not buying a whole brand new leaning post for a few $1,000s. All in all, I think this looks really good. The one thing that I probably should have done that I didn't do was change out these rod holders and change out this piece of starboard, but that won't be too big of a deal to do later on. But other than that, this thing looks really, really good. I don't know, there's a bunch of holes for miscellaneous stuff that they had screwed in here, but I'm not too worried about all that. The rest of it looks really clean for being almost a 30-year-old leaning post. Not bad if you ask me. I'm pretty happy the way it came out. For $140, I think that's a sweet deal.